All right, hey Cards fans, welcome back to the Cardinals Cast podcast. I know we haven't done a podcast in a while, but the baseball world has been heating up lately with a lot of moves and trades and signings. So we thought we'd sit down and record an episode for you guys. So just to begin, we're going to go over some of the coaching changes. So the Cardinals have brought in Matt Holliday to be their bench coach.
Yeah, I really liked Matt Holliday back in the day when I was watching him play for a little bit. I think as a bench coach, replacing another former Cardinal and Skip Schumacher will be kind of nice. Kind of keep it in the family, I guess, if you say it like that. I thought it was quite humorous when he talked about, since he was a former teammate of Adam Wainwright, saying like, "Oh, I'm going to make him run laps." You kidding me?
Yeah, I'd kind of forgotten that. That was pretty funny. This will be his first major league coaching stint after being the coach at Oklahoma State. So it'll be interesting to see. I know bench coaches are kind of there just to keep the team together, but
and
he should be a pretty good coach.
Gets ejected, then Matt's there. Yeah.
They found a new pitching coach and hitting coach, both of whom are have been in the Cardinals organization for a while.
Yeah.
So
I never really heard of him, but it's kind of what happens with hitting coaching and pitching coaches. If they're in the minors, you don't really hear about them that much.
Yeah. So I just wanted to touch on that. And then we can get into some of the, around the MLB, some big moves.
Logistics.
So we got the Judge to
stuff.
Yankees.
The big one that happened first. Yeah, Judge is back. I did not think that he was going to go back to the Yankees. I really didn't. But I guess they understood that they should pay the guy who, hit an American League home run record money. So they paid him his contract extension, or just a new one. So he's back with the Yankees. I don't know. It looked like he was going to go. Everybody was talking about the Giants, and I was honestly, I was here for it. But I'm okay with him staying with the Yankees. I think it'll be good for him. Obviously, the fans like him there. He plays well in the big market that the Yankees are. So I think it was good that the Yankees did re-sign him to get rid of any potential oh no. So
but then the Giants turned around, got Carlos Correa, got their big contract.
For 13 years. Which, it was funny. I remember the Dodgers had literally came out and said that we are not signing Carlos Correa, mainly because of the fans, which is still probably stemming from the fact that he was on the 2017 Astros when they were the face of the cheating scandal and they beat the Dodgers. And so the Giants, I guess, heard that and they're like, okay, we're rivals of the, Dodgers anyway, so we might as well sign public enemy number one of the Dodgers to our team for the next decade. So I'm excited to see when it's a Dodger San Francisco game, how they already don't like Carlos Correa, and now he's on the enemy. He's on public enemy number one on public team enemy number one for the Dodgers. So that's going to be there's going to be a lot of animosity there, and I'm here for it. I love that.
Yeah. And another team that made a lot of big moves, and it was kind of expected considering their owner was the Mets. They got Verlander. They got Quintana. I mean, they seem like they have unlimited money and can get whoever they want.
Well, I think I saw. So they lost. The big loss was in the very beginning. They lost Jacob deGrom, who signed with the Texas Rangers. And then people were a little bit upset about that. But I think with the amount of money that they spent on Jacob deGrom, they split it out between Justin Verlander, Jose Quintana, and I think one more guy or something. So the amount of money that was going into Jacob deGrom alone, they spent on 3 good pitchers. So I don't think Mets fans are as upset as they were. Obviously, there's a lot of love for Jacob deGrom in the Mets organization. But I think logistically, they came out on top, honestly, because they got 3 good rotation guys after losing, one. And for the Rangers, it's great for them. He obviously adds to their rotation. They're trying to do everything in their power to be potentially competitive in that division, which they've shown, sparks of that. I think DeGrom being there definitely helps them. Hopefully Corey Seager, especially with the shift being limited next season, hopefully we'll be able to get more base hits that way. If any, even Joey Gallo, any pretty much left-handed pull hitter will probably see an up in, at the very least, batting average, And so more ball movement could help those guys, and potentially helping those guys can help teams that, like the Rangers, who kind of rely on those guys to be a big hitter for them, actually produce. So that's going to be a big thing that'll affect a lot of, and I don't know if that was going into people signing people in these winter meetings because they knew, like Joey Gallo went to the Twins on a 1-year, $11 million deal. And I think they potentially are banking on the fact that with the shift being limited, Joey Gallo will be a little bit better of a ball hitter, but we'll have to see how that pans out. I don't know.
Yeah. A lot of people were talking about Rodon and the Cardinals because he'd add that ace guy, top of the rotation guy. But kind of unfortunately, he went with the Yankees. So this adds to their incredible. I mean, their roster is it's crazy good.
It's loaded all over the place. Everything, bullpen, rotation, just the lineup in general.
Yeah,
they lost Jordan Montgomery to us when we traded for Harrison Bader, but then they got Rodon. So, only a few months later after trading away Jordan Montgomery, they signed just another big pitcher. And I think Rodon definitely has the character and the attitude. Yeah, they got Frankie Montas in the trade deal. Yeah, so the Yankees are doing everything right at the moment.
Yeah. Well, the Cardinals, they went out and they got Willson. They got the catcher, 5 years, 87.5. So I was pretty happy with that. I think he's going to be a really good catcher. He's going to be a great hitter. I mean, we really haven't had any hitting from our catching position in a couple years. And it'll be nice to have
Yadi's been around,
all-star.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not like he's definitely a better hitter than Yadi was. Yadi was definitely a better defender than Willson was, but it's not to say that Willson is bad defensively. He still has a pretty good pop time, and he can still catch guys here and there. So it's not like we're totally losing a good backstop. He can still play the catcher position well at the major league level. And if anything, what the Cardinals needed was better production in that spot in the lineup to actually get some more offense going, and he's going to provide that. And so I think, obviously, I, for one, especially, am sad to see Yadi retire. The whole, the legacy's over. And since we've been used to, especially my entire life, having a defensive catcher and not really seeing the catcher hit that well, I know a lot of people that I've been talking to are a little bit like, they liked that. They liked the defense that he was. And I did too. But especially with the way that baseball is played now, we needed production. You need all 9 guys to be able to hit well. And so now with Willson Contreras, we have that catcher spot being a good hitter, and that'll help our offense. And, if we give up a few runs here and there, if we can get them right back, that's all we need.
All right. I just want to run through the starting pitching situation.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess at the top of your lineup, you got Flaherty, Miles Michaelis, Jordan Montgomery, Steven Matz, and Adam Wainwright. But after 2023, only Matz has a contract. Everybody else would be a free agent at the moment. So
Adam Wainwright's retiring after this year too.
Yeah. You thought maybe, they'll go get someone, sign him for multiple years, so that we aren't panicking at the end of this season to try to go get some guys. I know you got Liberatore. Hopefully you got some other guys coming up through the pipeline. But you really like some quality major league level talent. beyond this year.
And I don't know if Packy Naughton was a starter because he kind of pitched like middle this past season. And I don't know if he would transition into maybe being a starter, but he was a young guy that could be there. I remember I saw somewhere saying that, Mozeliak said that we had, when they asked him if we're going out for pitching, he said we had 5 starting pitchers, which he's not technically wrong by any means, but I called it 4.5. Or like 3.5, because we have Miles Michaelis. I'd call them a starting pitcher. Jordan Montgomery, starting pitcher. Steven Matz. Adam Wainwright is your 0.5 guy, because we don't know if he's going to be what he was like last year. And I just personally have no confidence in Jack Flaherty because he's been injured too much and he's never been able to play a whole season. So I don't really know if he's going to be there at all. So I think he's kind of banking on, if we do need a 5th guy, to have one of the young guys be that. We'll see.
Yeah. I think Mozeliak did count Dakota Hudson as one of the pitchers, and he said there are 6, but Dakota Hudson is just so unreliable. How can you even count him?
I don't know. The one thing that I can maybe see happening with Dakota Hudson is that he's always been a slow starting pitcher. And maybe with the pitch clock now, he's got to get a better tempo, better momentum going to actually throw the pitch. It could get him into a good rhythm and maybe make him a little bit more consistent. But that's really the only thing I can see with Dakota Hudson potentially getting better.
Yeah. So I was hoping for an ace. I was hoping for a Rodon, but I don't think it's going to happen. And then also I was hoping for a shortstop, because Trey Turner would really upgrade the team. But that was going to be a lot of money.
Anthony Swanson would have been a good upgrade too, debatably.
Yeah.
But I think we're just going the route where shortstop is now Tommy Edmonds' position, and we're going to have second base be Nolan Gorman's, and we still have Brendan Donovan who can play everywhere. So I think we're just going that route, which I'm okay with. I think it'll be good. Tommy Edman, I'm very confident in his shortstop abilities, and he's a good contact guy. His hitting got a lot better last year, which was his, struggle point a few seasons ago. So if he can keep that up, that would be good. Nolan Gorman having a little bit of a, good amount of major league experience this past season, can hopefully get comfortable again this coming season if he gets a lot more playing time. Obviously, Brendan Donovan, Gold Glove winner, rookie season, can play everywhere that we need him to be, grinds out a lot of at-bats. So I think middle infield-wise, that's what we're going for. I have not heard anything, but I would not be surprised if we don't see a Paul DeYoung in the lineup this season, at least opening day.
Yeah. And then moving on to the outfield, a lot of people have been linking the Cardinals to that guy from Pittsburgh, Brian Reynolds.
He wanted to trade. Came out and said he wanted to be traded.
Yeah. And the Cardinals got a few.
Yeah, we got a good, farm system. I just don't know how much the Pirates would want for him, because I know that we were also connected with the A's of trying to get potentially Sean Murphy as a backstop too, but they wanted Lars Nootbaar, and I think they wanted either Mason Wynn or another top prospect. I don't know. It was a little bit too much, obviously, which is why we didn't do it. It just kind of depends on how much the Pirates would want for Brian, even if the Pirates even want to trade him. Because just because he requested the trade doesn't mean they're actually going to do it.
Yeah. So, I think opening day you put O'Neill in left, but who knows? Walker could be there by, I don't know, you're in Springfield.
Walker's been doing really well. I think with how he does, depending on how he does in this, the winter leagues and spring training, he might get a call up and be on an opening day roster. Maybe not necessarily in the lineup, but at least be on the 40-man being called up opening day. I see him getting a good amount of playing time in the outfield. You have your Tyler O'Neill, who's hopefully going to have a bounce back season and not get injured throughout the entire season. I can forgive one or two stunts on the IL because things happen, but he's got to stay pretty consistently on the field. But then you still have Juan Yepes, who can play the outfield, most likely supposed to be our DH for this season. Dylan Carlson, center field is his now. He's got to take charge of that. I think he can. I think having a lot of that playing time will help him. And we have Lars Nootbaar still. Those are our 4 guys. So I really hope that Jordan Walker comes up because he's been doing very, very well. I'd love to see him starting play early. But in my opinion, I think he should get called up before school gets out. Before the end of May, I really hope that Jordan Walker is called up and playing ball with us in the majors. I think we still have Corey Dickerson, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong.
I think that was just a 1-year deal.
It was just a 1-year thing? Okay. I never could tell about him. But yeah, outfield wise, I think if anybody, he's gonna be the guy who's gonna be called up. And I really hope it's early on. Especially with what happened in my other favorite team in Baltimore. As soon as they called up their top prospect in Adley Rutschman, their season took a total flip. Yeah. And at the end, they were really close into making it into the postseason. So I hope that we kind of learn from that and call them up earlier on so that we can continue a good run and just keep moving forward and hopefully win the division again, because it looks like we're built to do that again. The Brewers lost a few people last year during the trade deadline, and this year they lost Colton Wong to Seattle. I mean, they kind of did a 1-for-1 trade with Jesse Winker, but how well is Jesse Winker going to play? I don't know.
Yeah, the Brewers have definitely took a step back. I mean, the beginning of last year, some people were saying they were like a World Series contender, but then they just kind of fell off. And now they're like totally in a rebuild. Yeah.
That's the thing. And our entire division is kind of just, I think the next 2 competitive teams to the Cardinals is probably the Brewers still, better than the Pirates in Cincinnati. The Cubs made some moves, and they could potentially be at least competitive in the offseason. Yeah,
I think the Cubs are the number 2 team now after they got
I think the Cubs will run away. Oh, yeah. The Brewers are kind of like the 3rd place team, potentially maybe even, I dare say, maybe even a 4th place team if the Pirates, for some reason, do well enough with their guys, because they have O'Neal Cruz and Brian Hayes who can do well. But the Cubs with Dansby Swanson, big thing, kind of suspected that he would kind of follow his newly wedded wife and live in Chicago and go there. And that's obviously great for the Cubs because they also have their young guy in, what's his name? Starts with an M, right?
You talking about Nico Horner?
Oh, yeah, Nico Horner. So, like, he can maybe help there and help teach that guy. And then I really, despite being the Cubs and a division rival and let alone one of the biggest rivalries in baseball, I'm kind of hoping that Bellinger does have a little bit of a bounce-back season. I think having him and Suzuki in the outfield for the Cubs was a very good move for them. So it definitely seems like the Cubs are trying to at least come in 2nd place and maybe push a wild card spot, maybe.
I know on the Talking Baseball podcast, they were saying that if the Cubs had kept Rizzo, they could be looking at contending for the NL Central crown right now, which I kind of agree with.
Yeah. If they kept Rizzo with his bat, they could have, even if they did still lose Contreras to us, they would have still been a competitive team. But that also begs the question, if they kept Rizzo, Contreras might have even stayed on too, because they might have built around those guys again. So, but we'll see. Javi Baez leaving doesn't seem to be like it's hurting them too much. He hasn't been doing well.
No.
The past 2 seasons, he hasn't really been playing with them. Neither has Chris Bryant, really. So those 2 things aren't really hurting them. The biggest thing is Anthony Rizzo went to the Yankees and just stayed there, and he's doing very well for them. So, but I definitely think the Cubs are back in it, kind of. I think, for a few years, the Cubs-Cardinals rivalry was still fun, but less fun because the Cubs weren't as competitive as a team. And so it kind of seemed like the Cardinals were just still the dominant team, which I still believe we are the better, more consistent team this year. But I think games between the Cubs now will be a little bit more back and forth, a little more even of a matchup than previously.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, we've put some things down here on this outline about the Pirates and the Reds, but
Reds basically did nothing. I had not heard any really news from them. I just took a quick look on their transaction board, and they traded this guy named Blake Sabol to the Giants, but it didn't even say who it was for. Wasn't even like a player to be named later.
Like
must have been some minor league guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the big thing with the Pirates is that Ryan Reynolds wanted to be traded. I don't think they're going to. And depending on how the season goes in a little bit, he might. If they trade him, they would probably get a decent package for him. Obviously, he's a good player. But I don't know if the Pirates organization wants to. That's the thing. The request is there, and I think they're talking to him. But at the current moment, I don't necessarily know any teams off the top of my brain who would need an outfielder like that and would have the package to trade for it for what the Pirates want. Because they have the young guys. And I think the Pirates, they did something that I liked. I don't know. They signed Vince Velasquez. But yeah, I think the Pirates did a few other smaller signings, which could potentially work out for them for the better. But I think the Pirates are still 1 year out of being in contention for second place in our division.
Yeah. All right, just to wrap it up, I think the Cardinals, by getting Willson Contreras, have made themselves a little bit better and increased their payroll a little bit, but they're still not good enough to compete with the other heavyweights in the NL, like the Dodgers and the Phillies and the Braves.
Yeah, on paper, as of right now, I don't think we're there yet. I think this year is continuously to stay consistent. Willson Contreras helps with that. On the way that it looks to me is that we're going to be sort of banking on, we're consistent enough with our guys that have been in the big leagues now on the roster and in the lineup that we still can make a wild card team. Competitive wise, I think we're kind of banking on Juan Yepez being a good bat like he was, the entire second half of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Walker will most likely get called up and be a rookie, hopefully big bat there too, and a big presence. He's supposed to be the next face of the franchise for us, really. And then Nolan Gorman getting more playing time. So I think those three rookies are really kind of our big hope. If they can have good seasons like they're supposed to, then we might be able to compete with the big dogs. But as of right now, on paper, we're still kind of middle of the pack. And I'm a hopeful man.
Especially rotation-wise.
Oh my gosh, if I was really hoping, I knew that Chris Bassett was on the market again, and I wanted Chris Bassett last time he was on the market, and so I was hoping that we would sign him, or even a Rodon would have been amazing too. But I'm worried that during the trade deadline again this coming season, that we're just going to go out and get another pitcher for only a year for some reason. It's just, but that's, I don't know. It's been the story of the past 5 years, if I can remember, that the Cardinals have always been very good defensively. Offense is sometimes a little bit inconsistent, which I think gets a lot better with Willson Contreras and Juan Yepez doing better too, and Lars Nootbaar now too. I think our offense is decently consistent now, and our defense is good too. But the story of our life has always been that pitching has been the one thing we're weak at. And Jack Flaherty was supposed to fix those problems, and he hasn't. So we're kind of still stuck in the same boat that we have been for the past 3-5 years.
Yeah. All right. Just one last thing I wanted to talk about. Danny Mac stepping down as the play-by-play announcer.
Stepping down. There's a hole. Who knows? You could fill it. You and I we could go up in the booth and do that. Yeah, no, we joke about that. That'd be fun though. It'd be a fun job. I'm interested to see if we're just gonna move already existing guys and move them up, or if we're gonna get like a brand new guy
move
that I've never even heard about.
They could move someone from the radio broadcast, like KMOX, over.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that, or maybe call up like a guy from who was doing minor league radio too, or something like that. I really liked Danny Mac Calls. He was good at his job. He did well. But, he's just kind of struggling with things right now. And we gave him another chance, and he kind of, swung and a miss a third time. And it's baseball, 3 strikes and you're out. So he's kind of stepping down. Hopefully he can get the help that he needs, takes care of it. But I'm interested to see. I'm a big fan when it comes to announcers, hearing I love it. I love hearing them go out just absolutely nuts and crazy. So I think, getting somebody with a good passion for that would be fun too. I think the Mets are still consistently voted over and over again the best broadcast booth. So if we can get, people like that would be good too. Bring in a former player, maybe. Somebody could do that. We'll see. That's honestly, for me, the next thing I'm waiting on.
Adam Wainwright.
The only guy I can think of right now who might replace him. I would love that. We could put an earpiece on him while he's pitching, and he could just commentate while he's on the field already.
Player announcer. Adam Wainwright.
Yeah, I think that would be fun. That'd be really fun. I'd love that. But yeah, we'll have to see. The one guy I know who helped Danny Mac a lot, Brad Thompson, could be kind of like the stepping stone guy for a while until we get somebody else who gets called up. But I'm interested to see who the Cardinals will do for that, because when you think about it, most of us are going to be watching it on TV, and that's going to be the next voice that you're going to be hearing in your living room for potentially the next decade or so, depending on who it is. So we'll see what happens there. I'm intrigued.
All right. Peace.
Lots of fun stuff to look forward to this season, though. See ya.
See ya.